Picks 25 through 30 in our mock draft could build out future title winning teams. Let's lock in and find out why.
You are Locked On NBA Draft with no ceilings. Your daily podcast on the future stars of the NBA. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome back. My name is Albert Ghim, and welcome to Locked On NBA Draft with No Ceilings, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, which, if you didn't know, is now the #1 sports podcast network. Today's episode is also brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if that bet hits, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use all across the app. Head to FanDuel.com to get started today. As I mentioned, my name's Albert Ghim, and I'm joined as always with my co-host, Pick and Roll. Pick and Roll. Wow. PhD in the pick and roll and pizza. It's Corey Tulaba. Corey, this mock draft has been one hell of an exercise. Some very interesting picks all over. We made jokes earlier in the week that we got everything right and everyone else was wrong. And it's unfortunate, though, that it wasn't a joke. Just kidding. But Corey, how are you doing? Talk to us about some. Okay, you know what? Let's do this, Corey. A little exercise. Okay. Was there a pick that we've made so far as a team that kind of shocked you a little bit?
You know what? Nathan selected Christian Anderson to pick to the Kings at pick 9. Yeah. And I was looking at Christian Anderson with some of my picks for this range. And I went back and double checked and I was like, my intuition was right. Christian Anderson was already picked. And it's not to say that I think that it was a bad pick.
Yeah.
It was just shocking. Christian Anderson can go. That kid is a hooper. I'm not hating on it at all because while some members of our team, Maxwell, have an affinity for hating on smaller guards, I'm not one of them. I love every smaller guard. Give me Junie Mobley. Give me Christian Anderson. Give me some Tahaad Pettiford. Braden Smith. Like, give me all of the small guards. I got all the stock in them. But that one shocked me just because of where he ended up going within this exercise. But I love Nathan for making it.
Yeah. No, I mean, the one thing we know about Nathan is the man, he likes what he likes. And when he's convicted about something, he is convicted about it. So
that's right.
Shouts to him for making a tough and incorrect pick. But we're really just kidding. But I mean, 9th is very high. Corey, I'm with you. I think around this range is where I was thinking for a guy like Christian Anderson, but we're early in the season, couple of games in. Who knows? He's already having a strong start. What if that strong start leads to a whole strong season, to a strong finish, to a strong conference tournament, to an NCAA tournament? Who knows, right? All these things are possible. And the team that he's on, maybe they make a long run into the Final Four. Maybe they win a national championship. Anything is possible.
Yeah.
So a lot to be excited about. But with that in mind, we've been given the great opportunity and job to finish out our mock draft here, Corey. And we're starting with picks 25 and 26. And with pick 25, Corey, you made the pick for the Los Angeles Lakers. And speaking of small guards,
that's right,
you were able to choose maybe your favorite small guard in Tahaad Pettiford. And so, Corey, talk to us about, number one, talk to us about the player, but also number two, talk to us about the fit.
Yeah. And, this is why I don't hate Nathan for it. Nathan's affinity for Christian Anderson is equivalent to my affinity for Tahaad Pettiford. I would take Tahaad Pettiford in the lottery and feel fine about it. Like, I've seen this kid since he was a junior in high school cook anybody you put in front of him. I thought he had even still kind of an underrated freshman season because he had so much talent around him that it kind of fell by the wayside of how much self-creating he did and how well he took care of the ball and distributed the ball and got guys involved and balanced those responsibilities of playmaking and scoring. And that was a question that I had for him. And when 2-to-1 assist to turnover ratio, I mean, he had 5 dunks. Like, he measured really well at the combine. He's going to be 6'1" in shoes with a 5.5 wingspan. So he's a little light still due to his size, but he has length. He's electric. He's an incredible athlete. He's an unbelievable shot maker. And, I just think at this part of the draft, like I think he's far and away in on my board the best talent available. And, the Lakers have Luka and Austin Reeves and LeBron who are going to be playing a lot of the point guard, but like Tahaad is a dead eye spot up shooter. He could shoot it off movement. He can shoot it spotting up, and then he can also give you a little juice when you put the ball in his hands. And those guys are resting. Like Austin Reeves has missed games, Luka's missed some games, LeBron hasn't played. Like LeBron's getting up there. Luka is going to need his maintenance. This is a guy who I think can carry your offense through spurts. And if you can get him at 25, when the Timberwolves had to trade up to get Rob Dillingham, much different draft as far as depth goes, in the top 10, like to me, that's a win because I think he's every bit the prospect that Rob Dillingham was. So, he's a kid who loves the bright lights. LA is not going to affect him from that perspective. And, I think he can play off of all of those guys that the Lakers have. And, I was looking either, some point guard or maybe like big man depth. I just didn't love the kind of big men that were at this spot that were available. So I went with my heart, which is Tahaad Pettiford. So, call God, call Hod.
I love that, Corey. I feel like the mix of like value at this slot with the type of like already established skill sets that he has, and the fact that like if you're picking at this point in the draft, you're just looking for somebody you're hoping who can contribute, and a guy that you're hoping will be like an NBA player. Getting Tahaad at this point feels incredible. It feels like great value. But to your point, Corey, this being such a strong draft class, this might really happen. You might end up getting a player like this at this point in the draft and feeling incredible about it because the top of this draft is going to be loaded. I really believe that. And so for the Lakers specifically, getting a guy like Pettiford here feels fantastic. I really like the pick, love the value, love the fit. Guy you're going to bring in to be your third, fourth guard. Love it. It makes a lot of sense. With that in mind, at number 26, I chose for the Hawks. And I feel like I got great value here.
Yeah.
I feel like I got a guy who could end up going lottery, depending on how his season goes. A guy who is a lights out scorer, shooter, offensive weapon, got some passing to him. I got Sean Abayev from Cincinnati, and he's coming to the Hawks. And the reason why I made this choice for the Hawks is the Hawks have not had the start to the season that maybe they wanted. Right. Some things are up in the air. Obviously, the Trae Young injury doesn't help things. But, Jalen Johnson coming back from injury, just whatever. It hasn't been the smoothest sailing so far. And so who knows what this team looks like. There's year after year after year. We've heard about, could Trae Young be traded? Could they blow it up? Blah, blah, blah. For me, I don't want to project any of that stuff. I do not know what's going to happen or what this roster is going to look like. But with the 26th pick in the first round, getting a talent like Sean Abayev, I think is an absolute home run for the Atlanta Hawks. I think with Sean, like his ability to score and his ability to space the floor, his ability to make reads and pass the ball at a very surprising level that a lot of people may not really know that he has in his bag, I think makes him a really interesting option with his size and also like his defensive ability. Like I think he can eventually, if he's not playing a number one scoring type of role, I think he could become a very serviceable defensive player. And we've talked about that, Corey, when we
He's big.
Exactly. Him being big definitely helps, but he's also like a pretty decent athlete as well and all this stuff. So for me with the Hawks, like I just felt like getting a guy of his caliber and his talent level at this point in the draft just makes it worth it, makes it like a very valuable kind of, you're swinging for the fences here. And to do that at the 26th pick feels pretty good about it.
And they paired that with Caleb Wilson, who they got in this exercise, on Monday's episode. So you're walking away with Caleb Wilson and Sean Abayev.
What a haul. Caleb Wilson, Sean Abayev. I mean, from day one, your defense gets better with Caleb Wilson, but then offensively too, you get two really interesting offensive players as well, Corey.
Dynamic.
That feels like a home run. But okay, well, that was picks 25 and 26. We'll get into 27 and 28 right after this break. When I'm hydrated, everything just seems to work better. My focus, energy, mood, even my skin. Right. That's why using something like Drip Drop could be to your benefit. It's doctor developed hydration that keeps you running at full power no matter what your day looks like. Drip Drop isn't your average sports drink. It delivers 3 times the electrolytes and half the sugar of leading brands using a science-packed formula trusted by medical professionals, firefighters, and over 90% of top college and pro teams. If you live an active lifestyle, I play a lot of tennis, I play softball, I play football as well. Doing these physical activities, I need to stay hydrated, right? So and if that's you, and you play sports and you're at the gym and you're living an active life, you want to stay hydrated, right? So drinking something like Drip Drop right now, believe it or not, Drip Drop is offering podcast listeners 20% off your first order. So go to dripdrop.com and use promo code LockedOnNBA. That's dripdrop.com, promo code LockedOnNBA for 20% off. Stock up now before the heat hits hard and keep your body and mind performing at their best with Drip Drop. Our pod is also sponsored today by Wayfair. Holiday season is right around the corner, and that means it's time to get your home ready. Whether you need some more seating for guests, cozy new linens, or fun serveware for holiday hosting, Wayfair's Black Friday sale is here to help you make your space shine. Holiday season, you've got your family coming over, maybe your in-laws coming over, your kids are back from college. You want your home to feel like it's the holidays, right? And that's where Wayfair comes in. If you've ever hosted family for the holidays, you know how much of a difference a few new touches can make, and Wayfair makes that easy. Don't miss out on early Black Friday deals and head to wayfair.com now to shop Wayfair's Black Friday sale for up to 70% off. That's WAYFAIR.com. Sale ends December 7th. After 2 ad reads, I think I need a little Drip Drop, Corey. But we are back, and we're doing picks 27 and 28. And as I mentioned in the cold open, this might be where you're building out a title contender. And with picks 27 and 28, with especially 27 in the Cavs, Corey, you took Tucker DeVries, Indiana, to the Cavs. Corey, talk to us about. All right, a couple of things, Corey. Some people may be surprised with the pick. Some people may be surprised at the slot. But I think this pick makes a lot of sense if you consider the way that the Cavs like to play and the type of players they're trying to put around their main guys. And so, Corey, if you could talk to us a little bit about Tucker and this fit here.
Yeah, well, like you mentioned, I think it's another really great match for roster and prospect. Tucker's a little older. He's dealt with injuries. I think he's looked phenomenal this year, from exhibitions to the games. He threw like 20 plus on Marquette in the first half the other night. He's taking insanely deep range threes, crazy degree of difficulty movement threes. He's a really underrated playmaker. And I actually think Indiana should play him as their primary ball handler, initiator, and run him as like, Hoosier Luka. Because I think that he has that kind of playmaking if he's used that way. Not that that's how he would be used at the next level, but I think in college he could kind of do that. And I say that because they've really done a good job getting value out of Sam Merrill, who was Mountain West Luka in college. Max Strus, they've done a good job with. Dean Wade, they've done a good job with. Even somebody like Jalen Tyson is kind of like has some similarities, even if it's not like a direct one-to-one parallel with what he's offering that team as complementary pieces to Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, and Evan Mobley. And I think that, with Tucker, with his big positional size, again, that extra floor spacing that he provides, you're getting a cheap prospect at this part of the draft. And as long as he stays healthy, I think that, this is the kind of spot where he can really, really thrive. And it's a big if, because the health has definitely been an issue lately. But I'm riding the Tuck train, baby. Like I think that he would do really well with the Cavs organization. Albert, you're muted.
Yeah, is this my first time podcasting?
That might be the first time I've ever had that's ever happened to you, to be completely honest. I don't know.
First time in how many years? That feels pretty good. I'll live with it. But Corey, I just kind of reiterating my point from earlier. It's just like consider, and you mentioned the names, right? Dean Wade, Max Strus, whatever. Just the Cavs, the way that they like to play, the way that Coach Atkinson has them playing, right, with their ability to get into the lane and to spray the ball out and create open opportunities from outside, and then obviously the stuff that they're doing with their bigs. And interesting, to watch what's been going on with how Coach Atkinson's wow, that was hard to say. Been using his bigs, and Jared Allen, I think last night didn't even play like the fourth quarter in OT. But like having these floor spacers to really accentuate the strengths of their guards and Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland, I think Tucker is a great fit here. And a guy who, as you mentioned, is a little bit older, has some experience, isn't going to come in super raw, and will come in understanding that he's going to play a role, right? A guy who understands that he's not going to walk in being big man on campus for a team that's contending for the Eastern Conference championship every single year. So I think this is a great pick, great value, and a nice swing at this part of the draft. And so makes a lot of sense. The 28th pick, the Denver Nuggets, who they're a really good team, with some really good players. They've got this guy named Nikola Jokic, who's quite good. They've started the season 7-2. They are some stats for you here with the Nuggets. 3rd in the league in offensive rating, 2nd in the league in defensive rating.
Pretty good formula.
Pretty good if you're in the top 3 in both, right? And that's where the Denver Nuggets are, Corey. And here with the 28th pick, they take a little bit of a swing here in Patrick Ngongba, right? I hope I said that right. I apologize. I'm trying my best. But out of Duke, big man, got some skill to him, got some flair to him a little bit.
Yeah, he's very skilled.
You know what I'm saying? So you get a skilled big guy here, and you add him to the Nuggets, and you go, why don't you do a little college extension, buddy? We're not going to have you come in, and we're not going to have you like play a ton from day one. We want you to treat this as like an apprenticeship. You're going to come in. You're just going to sit next to Jokic, Nikola Jokic, every single day. You're going to pick his mind, ask questions, watch how he lives his life. Just copy everything, bud. And this might be an incredible path for you and your future as a big in the NBA, was kind of my thought process, Corey. I thought with Denver and the bigs that their backup center is like Valanciunas, and he's like a lot older, and
he thought about going overseas.
Right. He almost didn't play in the NBA this year. So getting a young guy like Ngongba. Okay.
I think the end's silent.
Okay, so Ngongba. There it is. Bringing in a young guy like this, who's as skilled as he is, and giving him a long runway to learn from the best center in the NBA, who also is very skilled, sounds like a very interesting proposition to me, Corey. But wanted to kind of get your thoughts on this matchup here and how you think this will fit.
No, I loved it. I mean, I think you could see this kid go a lot earlier than this if he has the year that I think he's going to have if he stays healthy. And that's kind of been the issue, right? He had injury issues last year. He was hurt when we saw him at Nike Hoop Summit. He was hurt. I think when I saw him at the Jordan game, maybe he played a little bit there. But he's just constantly banged up. And with big guys, it's not something you love to see, but the skill is undeniable. He can really pass. He showed some ability to stretch the floor early this season. I mean, he's great around the basket. He's got awesome touch, good footwork. He looks like he's in better shape this year.
Yeah.
I think he looks a little slimmer. And, I think that getting him in Denver, and now, like, again, you can afford to be patient with him, right? Like you said, because you have Deron Holmes, who is a rookie this year, who, they have as maybe a 4 or 5 depth. He's been able to stretch the floor to the point where he can play the 4.
Yeah.
And so now you have some young guys in that front court behind Jokic and Valanciunas to really build out some solid depth. And then obviously Aaron Gordon's going to play the 4 too. So it's just a depth move. And when you're a championship contender, like, this is what you're trying to build. And this is a kid who, had all the accolades in high school. He's playing at Duke. He's a starting center there. Like, he's a high level prospect.
Yeah. And like, from, I don't know, maybe this is my Knicks fan bias, but like, I just like when you have a lot of centers that you can throw around, and like a diversity in bigs who can do a lot of different things, but also just like, and the old saying goes, like, you would like a guy to throw in to be an extra 6 fouls or whatever. But with Gongba, like, he might literally be a guy who knows, Corey, if like maybe as he gets older, the health stuff gets better, maybe. And then what if he's like the heir apparent to one day Jokic kind of, deciding I want to go full time into horse racing, and just like leaves everything behind, and like he just drops off all of his wisdom onto Gongba and is like, you take over, bud. And who knows what we might have with him, because he really is a very talented big who has a very diverse skill set that is not very common. So I really like the fit, and I thought we did a really good job with picks 27 to 28. Obviously, I'm biased. I like myself and I like you a lot, but we'll get into picks 29 and 30 after this break. The NBA season is heating up, guys. I mean, just last night, we had an incredible slate of games, or the other night, sorry. And DoorDash has found the perfect way to keep fans in their bag all season long. Whether you're watching for highlights, your fantasy team, or just your favorite player, DoorDash makes every game night even better. DoorDash is the official on-demand delivery platform of the NBA, and they're celebrating with something called the bag drop. Every time an NBA player scores 50 points in a game, DoorDash drops 50% off your order with Dash Pass the next day, and you're automatically entered for a chance to win the ultimate fan bag. We're talking player-inspired drip, exclusive gear, and stuff you'll actually want. We love that it's not just food. You can get anything from snacks and drinks to headphones, ice, even socks, all delivered through Dash Pass. So the next time someone goes off for $50, or sorry, $50, 50 points, use promo code NBA50 the next day to get 50% off on DoorDash with Dash Pass, plus your shot at the bag drop. Dash Pass members only, 50% off up to $10 a day after a 50-point game with promo code. Terms apply. No purchase necessary. Ends April 13th. Open to U.S. residents 21 or older. Visit DoorDashInYourBag.com for full details. DoorDash in your bag all season long. We're also sponsored today by FanDuel. As you know, the NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you miss the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at an even bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late-game push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, we are back, and we're back with our last 2 picks. This has been so much fun for us, Corey, as a team, doing this mock draft for Locked On, and we get to make 2 picks for 2 very interesting teams, Corey. And number 1, we're going with the current 1 seed in the Eastern Conference, the Detroit Pistons. Detroit basketball is the pick you're making. And Corey, you made an incredible pick here, a guy that you and I have liked for years now. We've been talking about this guy literally for years, from his time back at Tennessee to now him at Baylor. You took wing Cameron Carr. Corey, for listeners out there who maybe are not in the know, aren't very familiar with Cameron Carr's game, talk to us a little bit about his game and also the potential fit with the Detroit Pistons.
Yeah, I mean, talk about, years, not even his time in Tennessee, his time in high school, we were covering him. You know, he's 6'6". He has a reported 7'2" wingspan, I think is what it's reported as. And he's got a strap. Like, this kid can really shoot the rock. And it didn't work out at Tennessee. And, you know, there's some intel there that is not super flattering, but it's, you know, it's hearsay. And he's a young kid, so I'm willing to see the growth here because he's got a new opportunity at Baylor and he has made the most of it. He's looked incredible on both sides of the ball. He's making plays defensively. He's making plays offensively. He's knocking down shots. He's looking comfortable. He's looking confident. He's playing with passion and fire and grit. And when I look at Detroit and I see Cade being the masterful creator that he is, do everything, you know, jumbo initiator. You see the electric athletes they have in Asar Thompson and Ron Holland and Jalen Duren, right? And then you see, you know, a guy like Chaz Lanier who they got last year, and maybe this is a guy who they can look at similarly, but I think has a little bit of a higher upside because of his physical gifts. And I think he has a shot to really, if he can keep this up consistently, to be a top 20 pick, not just a first round pick, and potentially a lottery pick, because there's not too many guys with, you know, his combination of like shooting ability, physical tools. And so, you know, this is a kid who has a lot of potential. Of course, it could swing the other way too. And, you know, he can struggle and go back to his ways in Tennessee that led him to not really getting much playing time and seeing guys like Dalton Connect and Chaz Lanier play ahead of him. But I think that this would be a perfect situation for him to continue this trajectory that he looks like he's on in this early part of the year. He had a great summer. He had a great exhibition, and he's looked really good early on in the college season. So like you said, we've been big fans. This is a perfect swing, I think, for the Pistons.
Corey, he might be like what you imagine someone would try to create in a lab for like a 3-and-D guy, is what Cam Carr might end up being.
Yeah, it might be like what you hoped Jordan Hawkins looked like, even potentially just with better physical tools.
Right. Oh man, that's a good shout. But yeah, I mean, +8 a wingspan is pretty phenomenal. That should help you in a lot of different ways. So no, yeah, I really love the pick, Corey. It upsets me that the Pistons are getting him because the Pistons are really good and they're playing really well, and they don't even have their whole team healthy, and they're, you know, kicking ass everywhere. So getting Cam Carr, you know, adding him to that equation is really exciting for them. The last pick was my pick. People may laugh because what I ended up doing was pairing up the brothers. With the first pick in the draft, the Washington Wizards selected Cam Boozer, and here with the last pick of the first round, they select Cayden Boozer. Now, I want to explain myself here. A lot of you will look at this and be like, all right, Albert, you know, you're trying to get cute here. You want the brothers to be together, blah, blah, blah. As much as I believe that our listeners think that I'm cute, that is not the point here. I grabbed Cayden Boozer here because I think the Washington Wizards could benefit from adding a point guard. You know, with what they have, obviously, like having Bub Carrington, great. I really love Bub. We loved him heading into the draft. We really believe in his offensive potential.
We got the chance to talk to him, watch film with him.
We did film breakdown with him. Really intelligent guy, blah, blah, blah. But I just felt like the Wizards would benefit from adding another point guard, a guy who could either start for them or come off the bench.
Traditional point guard.
Correct. A traditional, get your ducks in a row, set up the offense, get you into sets, classic point guard. And Cayden Boozer is that type of player, and a guy who, now I'll be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of his jumper. I think he has one of the toughest looking jumpers I've seen in my lifetime, especially after I saw it in person. However, man, the pace, the nuance, the intelligence, the
strength,
the tempo, all the stuff that he can do as a traditional point guard is very impactful.
And he can make shots. It just
He
looks hideous.
He can make shots. It does look hideous, and it makes my brain think he's going to miss every single shot he takes. It's just not true. It's just not true.
No.
But anyway, Corey, I was really excited about this pick because I think it makes a lot of sense. If you can wrap us up and give us some of your thoughts on this pick for the Wizards.
Yeah, honestly, I kind of love it, even just like because at this point of the draft, you can say that, oh, you didn't pick this guy or that guy, but this is the part of the draft where it's all a toss up. And Cayden, there is like a kind of safety potentially to him. Would he come out if he was like, oh, you're bordering on first round or second round when you're going to be able to make a couple of $1 million heading back to Duke? That's the question, in this new era. But I love pairing him with Cam Boozer. Cam Boozer is going to be your franchise player. Why wouldn't you want to keep him as happy as can be, as comfortable as can be, and continue to pair? Because again, it's not like it's a little nepotism, but it's not like a straight nepotism pick, because Cayden was a McDonald's All-American. Like, he was a really good prospect in his own right. He's hit game winners in big moments in high school. Like, this is a kid who, has, a lot to his game. Stephen Gillespie wrote a piece saying why he thinks that he should be a lottery guard on NoCeilingsNBA.com. So, there's a lot of people who have Cayden ranked a lot higher than this for a lot of the reasons that you talked about. And just being able to pair the brothers together does kind of give a really cool story to this mock draft exercise. And I think that, again, you can't put a price on keeping family happy. Every identical, Giannis brother has been on the Bucks at this point. So Bronny James is on the Lakers. Like, there's it. At least Cayden, is a real high level prospect.
Yeah. I just think, like, it turns out that they like playing together. They played together for a long time.
Great chemistry.
And it turns out that when they play together, they win a lot. So that's been their history so far. And I think the Wizards are drafting Cam Boozer, hoping that they can try to change the trajectory of their franchise and start winning games again. And if you can start building a foundation behind a Cam Boozer, Alex Sarr, Keyshawn George, Bob Carrington, Trey Johnson, like, you've got a very interesting team.
Yeah, Wizards are interesting.
Right. We'll be trending in the right direction. So I know I made the pick, but I really like it. I think it makes a lot of sense to me, and that's why I freaking made the pick. But guys, we really, really hope you've enjoyed this exercise of doing a mock draft. We'll have more of these throughout, periodically throughout the season. And as always, guys, thank you so much for making us your first listen of the day and helping us become the #1 sports podcast network. As always, my name's Albert. He's Corey. Thanks for rocking with us.